Hi everyone, this is Bridget and I have my husband with me. This is part of my live worship and this is coffee and inspiration. Grab my coffee. So here's my coffee. I hope you have your cup of coffee. We just like to talk to you in reflection of 2020, and we're already into day 2 of 2021. And I just wanted to say that already God is working in a wonderful way in my life. Yesterday I had something so beautiful happen to me that inspired me. It was so timely. It was so needed. And I claim that which God gave me yesterday. And remember I said my word of the year is more, and I want more of God. I want to do more for Him. And yesterday He just came through in a magnificent way. So we just wanted to talk, my husband and I, about some things that we've been discussing about 2020 and things that our loved ones and friends have told us about what 2020 has been in their life. So I'm going to take the camera to Jonathan and let him talk to us.
Hey everyone. Yeah, 2020 has been quite the year, and I am thankful that it's over with. But we were talking and discussing some of the things we'd learned from 2020, and one of my biggest takeaways from 2020, which I'm taking into 2021 and really into hopefully the rest of my life, is that I learned in 2020 to take care of myself. There was a lot of time of inspection, retrospection going on, and I learned that I needed to take care of me. And if I don't take care of me, then I really can't take care of anybody else. It's if you don't love yourself, then you can't love anybody else. And you're supposed to love your neighbor as yourself. I coach people and I help people and I talk on a podcast that if you don't take care and love you, then you really don't love your neighbor. And so that's going to be my big lesson learned from 2020. We learned just how important it is to take care of yourself. And just in the fact of wearing a mask, we have to wear a mask all the time now. And really that's for everybody else's benefit. I'm taking care of everybody else. So there's some responsibilities that I have to do to me to take care of other people, to make sure they don't get sick. And that we can take that principle into every area of our lives, that there's some responsibilities that I have upon me and things that I have to do for me to end up taking care of somebody else. So that's going to be my big lesson for 2021. It's going to be the year to take care of Jonathan.
And there's nothing wrong with that, because when we were in the UK, we attended several different conferences and met with other ministers and pastors, their wives, their team members, and we learned that we need to have a time of reset. We need to have a time of relaxation. We are pouring into others, and we thank God for that ability to be able to do that. It's such a privilege. But as you pour into others, you lack that stability of strength to carry on for yourself. And it's not a sign of weakness to admit, I need a rest, because it's either you're going to rest or you're going to give up.
Yeah. I tell people a lot that a drowning person can't rescue another drowning person. And I was talking to someone a couple of weeks ago about this very thing. They were kind of complaining about that they're just a giver. They're always giving, to everybody else. And I was trying to get across, I don't think I succeeded that well, that they needed to take time for themselves. And if they don't get what they need, then they actually are going to lose if they've, and I think they've already lost the ability to truly give to other people because they have no more to give. Like I said, the drowning person is fighting for their life. They can't turn around and give life to somebody else when they're fighting for theirs. And so I think it's important for you and I that just like Jesus going off into the mountains to rest, he had to recuperate, he had to renew himself, strengthen himself, so that he can again turn around and go to the cities and the villages and give out to others.
And perhaps that rest for you is getting away. Maybe it's starting to walk outside. Maybe it's
Good book.
reading a good book. Maybe it's just sitting quietly with your favorite music being played. Maybe it's writing. Maybe it's putting together a puzzle.
Listening to a podcast.
So as we take direction from last year and moving into this new year, I was, encouraging everyone that's been listening to think of 12 good things that God has done for you. And I was trying to get everyone to think of something to take 12 months of the year, something. I know God's done so much for us as individuals, as a family. But I sat down yesterday and I started jotting down the things that God has done for me. But what I did was, as I went into my journal and I started going from the very beginning of the year when I wrote the word that I felt like God had given me for last year, and that was to elevate God. And then I had wrote some words on the side of my journal that several individuals had prayed with me and Jonathan at the beginning of the year, and some of these words were powerful and amazing, like step out, break out, and reconnect. And that happened this year, and it is so encouraging. And don't you think it just gives you a reboot, a reset, that God does work in your life. Sometimes you just have to write it down so you don't forget, and then you look back and say, wow, God, you are doing amazing things in my life. It's so easy to think of the negativity. I mean, we can go down really super fast right now if we talk about all the negativities of 2020. But I don't want to do that. I want to talk about the path and the journey, and even there's this beautiful scripture that I just want to refer to quickly right here in Psalms 143 verse 10. I love the English Standard Version. Said, "Let your good spirit lead me on level ground." And Wednesday I was talking about the shepherd and how when that shepherd is leading his flock, his sheep, down that steep hill, it's his rod that holds us back from plummeting head first into the valley. And it's his staff that guides our feet into the right pathway. And as we go into 2021, and let's remember what God did for us, the good things that God did for us, and he will direct us, his good spirit. I think that's the key. His good spirit will lead us into 2021. And like I said on Wednesday, there's two things that we, on this journey, we cannot survive without, which is number one, his spirit, and number two, his word. So just think of, we have his spirit. His spirit is a compass, and his word is the map. And he's going to guide us. It's not always going to be a mountaintop. It's not always going to be the valley. It's not always going to be the beautiful green pastures or still waters. All of it together is what's creating the image of Christ within us. So some of the things that our friends and our loved ones, maybe Jonathan can help me with that we talked about 2020.
Well, one of the things that I remember someone telling us is that they learned just to keep going. You know, there was a lot of things that could make you stop, make you give up, make you quit, but they learned just to kind of persevere, just to keep moving. I think was one of them. Let's see, I can't remember. I think somebody else was talking about becoming adaptable to whatever the situation was. I think that was a great lesson to learn in 2020, was become flexible, adaptable.
Right.
You know, and I think they too mentioned just keep going as well, you know, change and move on.
Right.
You can't stop.
And I think 2020 also taught us, as Jonathan was saying, about taking care of our health, making sure that by taking care of our health, we're being mindful of others. I'm very thankful. One of the things that I'm very thankful for is that before this pandemic happened in March, when it started becoming on the radar of us here in America, was that I was able to be with my mom and dad in church. I was able to help my dad, and my dad is a survivor of a stroke. He's had two strokes, and I'm very blessed that I have my mom and dad here in North Carolina, and I'm able to be with them. But yet through all of this pandemic, you know, I was looking in my journal, and I was so happy to see that one of my dad's, it might have been my dad's last service. I mean, he hasn't been able to go to church, I believe, since February. But we had a really wonderful time in church that day, and fellowship with each other and with other people. And now with the situation that we're in now, he's not able to come to church because of his health. But again, we have to be mindful of each other through all of this. So as you go into 2021, remember to care for yourself, your health, but yet remember that if God is giving you a gift in your life, step out and let that gift operate to encourage somebody else. And if you're tired, He'll make you strong. He'll give you the courage to do that. And so just to cap this up, I'm going to let Jonathan close us out.
Thank you. Well, I think what Bridget's saying is right. I would wish and hope and pray for all of you that you take care of yourself, persevere, be adaptable, be flexible, but never stop. Keep moving, keep going, and just let God use you, let God fill you, and it's not for you alone. Remember, the apple tree doesn't eat the apples. The fruit that is bore by the tree is consumed by someone else, not themselves. So whatever God's working in your life, remember the fruit that you bear is for someone else's survival and their nourishment, and it's not for you. And I just pray you have a blessed 2021.
Thank you for listening. Be fruitful and multiply, and we'll see you next week. God bless you.